Hi friends, please like the video and watch it till the end or Santa Barry will catch me. Today we found ourselves in Barry's Christmas prison. And from the very beginning, we're surrounded by a festive atmosphere. There are garlands, snowflakes, and a huge Christmas tree, the largest in Roblox. But behind this beauty lies a real nightmare. Barry, the guard of this prison, is nothing like a kind Santa. He has turned this place into a trap for anyone who ends up here.
Barry became evil because he never liked Christmas. He decided that if he couldn't have fun, no one should. Instead of gifts, he prepared a lot of traps and obstacles for us. We started our journey in a beautifully decorated cell, but quickly realized that it was just a disguise. We had to avoid snowdrifts and ice traps to get out of the cell.
Making our way through the corridors of this prison is a real challenge. We sneaked past giant Christmas decorations that could fall and crush us at any moment. Barry, this evil guard, never missed an opportunity to make our lives difficult. Each new room was full of surprises, and none of them were festive.
We've already passed several dangerous zones, including a parkour room where every step was slippery and hazardous. Ahead of us lies the most difficult challenge, fighting Barry himself. This villain certainly won't let us pass easily, but we're determined because our freedom and the holiday are at stake, and we can't miss it.
It's still a long way to the huge Christmas tree, but we will definitely show it in the video. It shines with all the colors of the rainbow, but Barry awaits us underneath it. We will need to use all our agility and wit to defeat him. We won't let the evil guard ruin Christmas for us or anyone else.
Defeating Barry will bring us freedom and the true holiday spirit. Success awaits us, and no evil guard can stop us. Let's go, Labrador. We can do it.
So, after we escaped from Santa Barry, we found ourselves in the depths of the prison. The Christmas spirit is felt everywhere, but it doesn't bring much comfort. Here, we have to tackle the most challenging parkour, and below us is not soft snow, but boiling lava. Every jump must be precise because one mistake could cost us our freedom.
All these decorations and garlands shouldn't distract us. We've already felt that even in such a bright and festive place, dangers can lurk. These platforms seem reliable, but whenever they light up red, they start to fall. This is a test for the bravest, and we'll need to use all our agility and wit.
Every step, every new platform holds a puzzle. We see lights flickering, snowflakes falling, but beneath all this lies a deadly threat. Moving from one platform to another feels like being part of a Christmas fairy tale with elements of extreme sports. We must be very careful and not lose focus.
But even in such an environment, the Christmas spirit helps us. Every decoration, every holiday detail reminds us why we are fighting. Another challenge awaits us ahead. Do you think we can escape from here? It's important not to rush. Stay calm, and remember that every jump brings us closer to freedom.
I'll never forget that New Year. It started like any other. The city was decorated with lights, the holiday spirit filled the air, and children eagerly awaited their gifts. But this time, something was wrong. Dobie and I were patrolling the city when, one night, we received a strange signal. Santa Claus, who always brought joy, suddenly disappeared. It was terrifying. The children were worried because they knew that if Santa didn't come, New Year's would be ruined.
As soon as we found out what had happened, Labrador and I headed to his North Pole home. We thought it was some kind of mistake, or maybe Santa had just gotten sick. But when we arrived, we saw a strange scene. Santa, whom we'd always known as a jolly, kind old man with a white beard, was gloomy and upset. He was sitting in his workshop, staring at his collection of toys, ignoring us.
When we got close to him, we quickly understood what was going on. Santa said he no longer wanted to deliver gifts because no one believed in him anymore. He was downhearted, his spirit broken, and all his faith in the magic of Christmas was gone. Instead of spreading joy, he decided to seek revenge. In that moment, he created something strange, a magical spell that turned his magical staff into a tool capable of destroying the New Year celebration. All the gifts he had left started to turn into ominous things.
Realizing that the situation was becoming critical, Labrador and I immediately understood that we had to stop him before he destroyed the whole city. We tried to talk to him, but Santa was stubborn. His heart was filled with bitterness. There was no spark of joy in his eyes like we had always seen before. We knew we had to somehow restore his faith in the miracle of Christmas, but how could we do that when he had already decided to ruin the holiday?
We quickly came up with a plan. Santa, despite his anger, was still kind by nature. We decided to restore his faith with the help of children. Dobie went into the city and gathered all the little ones, explaining that Santa needed their help. We set up a small impromptu ceremony where the children wrote letters to Santa, telling him how much they believed in him and how grateful they were for everything he did. We hoped these letters could melt his heart.
When we returned with the letters, Santa initially didn't believe that it was all real, but as he began reading these sincere words of gratitude, his heart started to thaw. He looked at the letters, where the children talked about how they believed in miracles and how every Christmas was the most important time of the year for them. This gave him strength. He suddenly remembered that Christmas was not just about gifts. It was about love, joy, and faith.
At some point, his expression changed. Santa returned to his kind nature and once again felt the magic of Christmas. Instead of continuing to destroy the holiday, he decided to restore everything he had destroyed. He waved his magical staff, and all the gifts became good and joyful again. Santa apologized to us and all the people of the city, restoring the magic to his gifts that they had always carried.
In the end, Christmas was saved. We returned to the city, and Santa, once again full of joy, continued his work. The children rejoiced, and Labrador and I could relax, knowing we had brought back the holiday. We realized how important it is to believe in miracles, even when it seems like everything is lost. Faith and kindness can overcome any darkness.
It was an unusual new year. Everything started like usual. The tree in the center of the city, lights twinkling, children rejoicing. But when the clock began counting the final seconds to midnight, everything suddenly stopped. Silence. Dobie and I were standing in the square when we noticed that everything around us had frozen. People, cars, even the snowflakes in the air. Everything was stuck in place. Trying to figure out what was happening, we quickly realized this was no ordinary event. Suddenly, figures appeared before us, shrouded in mist and light. Wizards.
They appeared out of nowhere. These strange beings began casting spells, and time in our city froze. This wasn't just a magical trick. They had essentially taken time from us, along with all the joys and events of the celebration. Labrador and I stood in the middle of the square, realizing that if we didn't stop these wizards, the new year would remain in the past, and the city would sink into eternal silence.
We immediately understood there was no time to waste. We needed to act fast, but the wizards were powerful. Their magic was strong, and they simply laughed at our attempts to intervene. One of them, the senior wizard, said they had decided to stop the new year to show everyone their power. They claimed that time magic was their main weapon, and they ruled it until they decided to release us.
However, Labrador and I weren't about to give up. We had not only courage, but also the ability to solve problems. We decided to take an unconventional approach, reverse magic. We remembered old tales about how wizards use not only strength, but also cunning. Instead of fighting with force, we decided to enter their magic circle. I suggested a risky plan to Labrador. We needed to find a way to connect with their magical stones, which they were using to stop time.
I agreed, but I knew it wouldn't be easy. The wizards sensed our caution and began creating obstacles. One of them shot a powerful spell at us, but I managed to react in time. We hid behind the tree, and I, without wasting any time, prepared for the next step. At that moment, Dobie had figured out how to break their magical defense. He suggested using the power of will to focus our intent on restoring time.
I started concentrating on what I wanted to return, the magical moment of the celebration, the laughter of children, and the joy. Labrador and I held hands, trying to align our will with the wizard's magic. Gradually, we began to feel the energy around us changing. At that moment, the wizards noticed that their power was starting to weaken.
Today we found ourselves in Barry's Christmas prison, and from the very beginning we're surrounded by a festive atmosphere. There are garlands, snowflakes, and a huge Christmas tree, the largest in Roblox. But behind this beauty lies a real nightmare. Barry, the guard of this prison, is nothing like a kind Santa. He has turned this place into a trap for anyone who ends up here.
Barry became evil because he never liked Christmas. He decided that if he couldn't have fun, no one should. Instead of gifts, he prepared a lot of traps and obstacles for us. We started our journey in a beautifully decorated cell, but quickly realized that it was just a disguise. We had to avoid snowdrifts and ice traps to get out of the cell.
We defeated that big boss. Thanks everyone for watching. Do you want to see more New Year's modes? Personally, I'm really looking forward to the new year. Let's move on to the next mode. Hi, friends. Today, we found ourselves in Gary's Christmas school. And right away, things didn't go as planned. First, we had to get out from behind bars. Gary and the school principal seemed to think that students should stay here forever. The school is decorated for the holidays with garlands, Christmas trees, and snowmen. But this doesn't hide the fact that it has turned into a real prison.
These guys, Gary and the principal, seem to have completely forgotten the Christmas spirit. They've turned the school into a real trap. Labrador and I started by looking for an exit in the wall, making our way through hidden passages and secret doors. As soon as we found it, the trials began. Platforms, traps, and difficult jumps, all were designed to stop us. But such beauty around, twinkling lights, festive decorations, and it gives us the strength to move forward. Oh, I forgot. Hi, guys.
Gary has always been a strict guard, but now he is truly evil. I heard that he and the principal never liked the students, and now they decided to turn the school into a prison so that no one could leave. These traps and trials seem endless. But every time we see the Christmas lights, it reminds us that the holiday is still near, and we can't give up.
We've already passed several parkours, jumped over snowy obstacles, and avoided icy traps. This whole journey feels like a Christmas tale, only with elements of horror. Gary patrols the corridors, but we keep moving forward, avoiding his gaze. Freedom is still far away, but each stage we pass brings us closer to it. And even though the school looks festive, it's still very dangerous here.
Friends, we have many more trials ahead of us, but we are determined. Gary's Christmas school won't stand in our way. We will continue to search for an exit and overcome all obstacles on the path to freedom. The holiday spirit will help us, and no Gary will stop us.
Every new corridor, every jump across snowy platforms brings us closer to the exit. We will overcome all difficulties and prove that even in such a challenging situation, joy can be found. Forward to freedom, despite all obstacles.
After all these trials, I realized that Christmas is not just about gifts and decorations, but also about the strength of spirit. Every time we face a new trap, the Christmas lights remind us that we are fighting for something bigger. Gary and the principal may try to stop us, but they don't understand that the holiday spirit gives us the strength to overcome any difficulty.
I agree, Labrador. Even when it seems like the exit is far away, we keep moving forward. Every snowy tunnel, every decorated corridor reminds us of our home, where our families and friends are waiting. We had to navigate through the most challenging parts, but this Christmas spirit lifts us up.
Just now, we were doing parkour right above lava. How can there even be lava in this snowy school? I'm in shock. Is Gary a robot? This Gary has completely taken over his school. He even invented this robot. But it's really weak, haha. It can't even catch up with us.
Ouch, that ball is rolling right at us. But I think I figured out how to get past it. Labrador, we need to stay close to the wall to dodge this super fast ball.
Recently, something completely unbelievable and very sad happened in our animal town. New Year's Eve was approaching, and all the residents were eagerly awaiting the holiday. The children were especially excited because they knew Santa would bring them presents. But this year, something went wrong. We started receiving complaints from parents that the gifts they had left under the tree for their children had disappeared. At first, we thought it was just a joke or an accident, but the number of complaints kept growing, and it became clear that something strange was going on.
Labrador and I decided to get to the bottom of this. After investigating, we discovered that an evil Santa lookalike had appeared in town, stealing presents from the children. No one knew where he had come from or why he was doing this. We realized we had to act fast to save the holiday and bring joy back to the children. The trail led us to an old abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town, where, according to rumors, the evil Santa was hiding.
When we reached the warehouse, we saw that it was lit up with lights and decorated with garlands, as if there really was a celebration going on. But inside, the atmosphere was completely different. There were scattered gifts all over the floor, and we saw the evil Santa checking his loot. He was big and grim, with a frown on his face and a cold stare. We realized that we couldn't defeat him by sheer force. We needed to come up with a plan to return the presents to the children.
We decided to use trickery. I suggested that Labrador distract the evil Santa while I quietly snuck over to the bags of presents. Labrador started talking to him, trying to lead him deeper into the warehouse, while I began gathering the scattered gifts and hiding them in our patrol car. When Labrador saw that I was almost done, he signaled to me, and we started moving faster.
Once all the gifts were collected, we decided we needed to stop the evil Santa so he wouldn't continue his misdeeds. We used a special net that we had prepared in advance and captured him. It turned out that the evil Santa was a cursed creature who needed warmth and kindness to become good again. We took him to our station where a local wizard lifted the curse. The evil Santa became a kind, ordinary Santa once more, and the gifts were returned to the children.
After everything that happened, our town was filled with joy again. The children received their presents, and the restored Santa promised that he would never again fall under the influence of dark magic. This incident reminded us that sometimes villains can simply be victims of circumstances, and that the true magic of the holiday lies in kindness and supporting each other. Labrador and I returned to our duties, knowing that New Year's in our town would once again be bright and joyful.
In our animal town, the most awaited holiday, New Year, was approaching. Everything was ready. The Christmas tree was decorated. The children were drawing pictures for Santa, and the streets were glowing with lights. But this time, something went wrong. In the evening, when everyone had already started preparing for the holiday, strange things began to happen. At first, the residents noticed that decorations on the Christmas trees were disappearing, and the presents left under the trees were simply melting away. Dobie and I decided to investigate what was going on.
We started our investigation and found out that evil elves were behind everything. They had always helped Santa, but this time something went wrong. These elves decided to spoil the holiday by destroying everything related to New Year's. They used magic to remove all the joy and festive spirit. Labrador and I realized we needed to act quickly before the holiday was completely ruined.
We needed to find the elves and stop them. The trail led us to the forest, where we discovered a hidden base filled with magical toys and candies. The elves were preparing for their final step, turning the whole town into winter without any joy or celebration. Dobie and I knew we had to use trickery to bring the holiday back to the town.
We came up with a plan. I suggested luring the elves into a trap using their own toys. We placed magical toys in different corners of the town, knowing the elves would surely find them. When they arrived, Labrador and I used special shackles to capture them. Soon, all the evil elves were caught, and the holiday was saved.
Once we restored order, everything went back to normal. The trees were decorated again, and the gifts were back under the trees. The elves, deprived of their magic, vowed never to ruin the holiday again. New Year in our town was filled with joy again, and Dobie and I were proud of restoring peace and fun.
This story taught us that even in the darkest moments, you can find light and restore joy. And although the evil elves tried to ruin our holiday, Labrador and I managed to save it. New Year in our town became even brighter, and we hope we never face such troubles again.
Since morning, our animal town had been unusually quiet. Dobie and I were patrolling the streets as usual when we received an urgent call. An old scientist, Professor Skotchkov, had appeared in the center of town. He was known for his strange experiments. He was always developing something, but never knew how to control his inventions. This time, however, he had created something that could change our world. He had developed a time machine, but something went wrong, and as a result, we found ourselves trapped in time. And it wasn't just a repeat of one day, it was something much stranger.
As soon as we found ourselves trapped, we realized something was wrong. We were back in a school classroom, and time began to loop in a circle. We would wake up, start the day by heading to school, then end up in the same lesson, taking the same test, and everything would repeat over and over again. At first, we didn't understand what was happening. Each time we went through the day, we faced the same problems and situations. But we noticed that each time, we became a little better, a little smarter, and gradually started to guess that the day wouldn't end until we solved the main puzzle.
We tried everything, changing the order of our actions, trying to talk to the teachers, thinking that if we did something differently, we could escape. But nothing changed. Every time we moved on to the next day, everything was exactly the same. We would again go to school, sit in the same seats, answer the same questions. Trapped in this loop, I started to realize that this situation wasn't just a set of learned tricks, but something bigger. Our goal was to get a grade of 5 in the main subjects we were given, and only then would the day stop. It was strange because we always thought grades couldn't be that important.
At first, we tried to find a way to escape, But the faster we rushed, the more mistakes we made. We understood that the key was to get a grade of 5, and only then would the day end. We began preparing more thoroughly, paying more attention to every detail, but still, everything kept repeating. We managed to get the grade of 5 and passed his trap. Thanks, everyone. We've beaten this boss. See you in the new mode.
Hi, friends! Welcome to our new video on Roblox. Today we're exploring the exciting game, Escape from Baby Bobby's Kindergarten, Obby Mode.
Hi, Labrador. Hi, everyone. We're in for a real endurance test.
I'm Sheriff Labrador, and this is my trusty partner, Sheriff Dobie. We're going to show you how to escape the most guarded kindergarten in the world. Hi, Dobie. Dare Garden, Obby Mode.
This kindergarten is something special. We'll face plenty of obstacles and traps, not to mention the terrifying giant baby that's patrolling the area.
That's right, and let's not forget about the super modern security systems that will try to stop us. We'll need to use all our skills to navigate jumps, avoid being chased, and even cross boiling magma.
Exactly. And at the end, there's going to be an epic battle with Baby Bobby himself. This will be an unforgettable adventure.
Whoa, did you see that scary face? That's the baby we need to escape from.
We need to defeat him to get out of here.
Dobby, look, that's his crib. We need to get through this parkour section to avoid running into the giant baby. Be careful. There are lots of traps here.
Got it, Labrador. Lasers, moving platforms, and even floating cubes. We need to be careful and precise.
Look, moving platforms ahead. Hold on, I'll jump to the first one. Ready? Ready. Jumping after you. Great. Hang on, Dobby. We're on the right track. Just remember, the baby could spot us at any moment. Look, Labrador. Magma below us. One wrong step and we'll be in trouble. Be careful.
Ooh, that was close. I almost fell, but I managed to grab on. Great job, Dobby. Keep up the pace.
We're almost halfway there, but there's another section with spinning blades ahead.
I see them, Labrador. We need to time our jump for when the blades are at a safe distance.
Look how creepy and beautiful it is here, guys. We're in a kindergarten. Have you ever seen anything like this at a kindergarten? As I understand it, this little baby Bobby has taken over this kindergarten and made it his home.
Baby Bobby is huge, and everyone was scared and ran away. But today, Labrador and I are taking the kindergarten back for everyone. We'll have to defeat Baby Bobby in his challenges. Even though he's small, he's really smart, and he's definitely got something planned.
Dobby and I just conquered one of the toughest parkour sections in this mode. But the scariest part is yet to come. We need to crawl through this ventilation shaft without waking Bobby up. It looks like he's sleeping in his bedroom, and if we make any noise, it's all going to reset. So we need to act like real spies.
Yeah, Labrador, I'm even afraid to breathe. We're so close, but if Bobby wakes up, we'll have to do another parkour section and face a ton of nasty surprises.
We woke him up. Look, he's up and rushing right toward us. We need to think fast, or he's going to turn us into his toys.
Labrador, let's run to that huge toy maze. He won't be able to catch us quickly with all those obstacles.
Great plan. Let's go faster. We need to slip between those giant blocks and soft teddy bears. You go first. I'll follow you.
I'm already in the maze. It really slows him down. Labrador, look ahead. There's a big slide. If we slide down, we'll have a chance to break free.
I see it. Let's go faster. Sliding down now. He's still at the other end of the maze. We have time.
Wow, that was awesome, but he's still right behind us. Look, ahead. There's a play area with lots of stuffed animals.
Yes! We outran him. Look at him. He's so cute. He's crying because he couldn't catch us. He wanted to play tag with us, but he lost. And now he's crying. I don't know why, but I really feel sorry for him now. He's still just a baby, even though he's super smart and super big. Ahead, there's another ventilation shaft. Where is it going to lead us this time? Ouch! Dobby, are you okay? We landed right in the belly of this giant baby.
Yeah, Labrador, I'm okay, but we need to get out of here as soon as possible. We're surrounded by stomach acids and food. We have to move fast.
I agree. Look, there's a tunnel ahead. Maybe it leads to his esophagus. If we can get through it, we might have a chance to escape.
Good idea. Let's move carefully so we don't slip. Stay close, Labrador. It could be slippery here.
I see the tunnel. It's narrow, but we can definitely make it through. Let's go one at a time. I'll go first.
All right, I'm right behind you. It's dark and damp here. Stay alert. We're almost halfway.
Dobby, look, there's light ahead. It looks like the exit. We need to hurry.
Labrador, that's definitely the exit. Let's go faster before he swallows us again.
One day, something terrifying happened in our town. The evil villain we had been chasing for a long time decided to poison our friend, Sheriff Papillion. He hid a dangerous substance in a lollipop and planned to give it to her so she wouldn't be able to continue her work. Papillion was the town's favorite, and everyone was worried about her. Dobie and I realized that if we didn't act quickly, the consequences would be disastrous. However, this villain was sly and very tricky. We needed to come up with something special.
We immediately remembered a new technology developed by the scientists of the Animal Town. It was a special device that allowed us to shrink down to the size of ants. This technology had already been tested, and we decided it was the key to solving the problem. Dobie and I went through several preparation steps and activated the device. In an instant, we shrank to tiny sizes to get to the place where the villain had hidden the poisoned lollipop.
And when we became small, the world around us changed. Every object that we knew now seemed gigantic. Dobie and I moved quickly despite our size, and soon we reached the place where the villain had hidden the lollipop. We had to be careful not to be spotted. But thanks to our new technology, we could use all the hiding spots and sneak into even the tiniest cracks.
We reached the lollipop and discovered that the villain had mixed a dangerous substance into it. Everything was at risk. We needed to act fast to stop Papillion from being poisoned. We carefully moved the lollipop to a safe place and neutralized it. When we returned to our normal size, we felt not only relief but also pride. We had saved Papillion.
When we returned to our normal size, Papillion didn't even suspect she had been in danger. We told her what had happened, and she was incredibly grateful for our help. The villain was caught and arrested, and the town could breathe a sigh of relief again. Dobie and I realized that sometimes, to defeat evil, you need to be not only fast and brave, but also smart, ready to use the latest technology for the good of our town.
Since then, I've always remembered how important it is to work together and use all available resources to protect those we love. And although size doesn't always matter, on that day, it played a crucial role.
Guys, there's a very secret story. Sheriff Papillon told no one to talk about it, but we'll tell you because you're our best friends. Our loyal friend and colleague, Sheriff Papillon, got into some real trouble. She was on an important mission, trying to uncover the case of a secret criminal organization. Everything was going well until something unexpected happened. Guys, we need to defeat this boss. How we'll do it? I'll continue telling the story about Papillon. Dobie, we need to find a weapon fast to deal with the boss. The RPG should help us take him down quickly.
Right, Labrador? Let's find it. Here it is. I've found the RPG. Now let's get ready for the battle.
There he is, the boss. Wait, no, that's not him. Those are clones of the giant baby. They're everywhere. We need to take each one down.
They're everywhere, Labrador. Be careful. We need to act accurately and quickly. I'm starting to fire. The first one's down, but there are so many. The second one's ready. Don't give up, Labrador.
They're advancing. Another one's down. Hold the line, Dobie. There are too many, but I'm sure we can handle it. Dobie, this feels like a nightmare. We're fighting these baby clones endlessly. They keep coming back, and we can't defeat them.
Yeah, Labrador, this is crazy. We shoot them down, they disappear, and a second later, they're right back in front of us. We need to find a way to stop this endless wave.
I don't understand how we got here. They're so persistent. It's like they were made for an infinite battle.
Congrats to everyone on the victory, but it's not over yet.
Dobie and I were patrolling the streets when we got the signal that Papillon had gone missing. At first, we thought she had just gotten lost, but soon it became clear that she had been captured. This organization was clever and sneaky, and they knew exactly how to stay unnoticed. We had to act quickly.
When we found out that Papillon was in danger, time was against us. We immediately started gathering information and found traces leading to an abandoned factory on the outskirts of the city. I knew we had to proceed with extreme caution, as the enemies were well prepared. Labrador and I headed there, but as soon as we got close, we were met with traps and guards. We had to figure out how to get inside without getting caught.
We decided to move quietly. I used my stealth skills and Dobie had a backup plan. We snuck past barricades and found Papillon in a cage. She gave us crucial information about the criminals planning even worse things if they got free. We knew we had to act fast.
Finding Papillon was tense, but our teamwork helped us neutralize the guards and free her. As we made our way out, we encountered the main villain. We couldn't overpower him, but we outsmarted him until backup arrived.
Back in the city, everyone was grateful. We had prevented a big threat, and Papillon thanked us. It was a reminder that in danger, staying calm and supporting each other is key.
Labrador and I will always have each other's backs, because in our city, friendship and support help us face any challenge.
Thanks everyone for watching. I know I dance really well, but we'll see you in the next mode.
Labrador, you dance so beautifully it's true. Wait, I just remembered what the next mode will be, and I'm scared to go through it. Guys, please give me a like.
Guys, please watch till the end so this evil grandma doesn't catch us. Hello everyone, this is Sheriff Labrador.
Guess who we're running from today?
Yes, I'm not alone. Dobie is with me. We're trapped in the house of an evil grandmother, and our goal is to escape. We need to be quiet so we don't wake her up, but it won't be easy.
You think she's just an old granny? But that's not the case. You should see what she's done to this house. Grandma has set up real challenges in her home.
She hated her grandchildren and decided to feed them cookies until they popped like balloons. But we managed to save them, and today we will stop her evil.
Let's start the escape. Oh, look, it's a photo of that old man we already ran away from. Looks like they're married.
Oh no, I hope she doesn't wake up. I remember how we escaped from that old man. Be sure to watch it on our WoW channel.
Looks like this valve leads to the attic. I hope Grandma doesn't catch us here. Oh, she even set up mines. Why do you think this old woman locked us in a cage?
She probably loves cats. There are pictures of them hanging around, though all grandmas love cats. Maybe she wanted to make soup out of us.
Look, we're high up, and there are spikes below us.
I hope we don't fall right into Grandma's mouth when we get out of the vent.
Me too. It would be tragic if she ate us right away.
There's a lot of dust in the vent. It's annoying me.
Oh, look, Grandma is right in front of us. I hope she doesn't wake up.
Let's jump on her stomach. Oh, unexpectedly, she didn't notice us.
Look, teeth in a jar. Ew, that's disgusting.
We need to hurry before she wakes up. She's running right after us.
Oh no, green snotty cookies. Better not step on them. She even farts. She might grab our tails. Look, a red button. We need to press it quickly.
This button opened a passage. Let's run there before Grandma catches us.
Look, Grandma turned red. We need to jump next to her.
Now she doesn't even pay attention to us.
There are a lot of cookies here. I was right. She loves cookies.
The evil grandma is so clumsy she even dropped a glass of milk.
She forgot about us. She's not even trying to catch us. Oh, look, a huge fan that will lift us up. There are traps along the way, but we won't give up.
We'll easily overcome them. I completely agree with you, Dobie. There are no obstacles we can't overcome.
Oh, we almost fell back. We need to be more careful.
Hooray, we overcame the traps.
Don't celebrate too early. Let's see what's behind the door.
Look, we're in some kind of dungeon.
Let's jump on these geysers. I think they'll help us move forward.
Hey, Dobie, don't you think it's getting too hot in here?
Yes, it's very hot here. Let's get out of here quickly and have some ice cream.
Phew, the board broke under us. I hope it doesn't happen again.
Look, a vent. I think we should climb into it.
The vent is dusty again. I hope there are no spiders here.
I wouldn't want to see a giant spider.
Oh no, we fell into the room where Grandma knits.
I hope we don't meet her here.
I wouldn't want her to knit a scarf out of us. Listen, something's rolling. A giant ball of yarn.
We didn't make it to the safe place. I hope we'll be luckier next time.
It's convenient that there are holes in the walls here. Otherwise, we would have been crushed long ago.
I see the exit. We can tell some interesting stories because a battle with Grandma awaits us ahead.
Once, in one of the neighboring districts, strange things began happening. At first, it seemed like an ordinary event. Rumors started spreading about an old woman who had settled at the edge of the town. She looked perfectly normal. Gray hair, glasses on her nose, and a hooked nose, just like any other grandmother. But as the days went by, people started noticing odd things. She never talked to anyone, and the children who went into her house started disappearing. Parents were in a panic, but no one could figure out what was going on.
Sheriff Labrador and I decided to investigate. At first, we thought it was just rumors and overreactions. But when we peeked inside this grandmother's house, we discovered something inexplicable. In one corner, there were strange potions. In another, books on magic. And on the walls were portraits of children who clearly had stopped growing. We quickly realized that she was no ordinary grandmother. In fact, she was a witch who used her charm and disguise to lure children into traps.
We began keeping an eye on her. She hid her true nature by pretending to be a kind old lady, but as soon as children entered her house, she used spells to turn them into statues made of cotton. In this place, they became useless toys, which she could display in her shop window or use for her dark rituals. The more we investigated, the more oddities we uncovered. The grandmother witch was a master of transformations, and her powers were dangerous for the entire town.
Once we learned about her sinister plans, we had to come up with a way to stop her without putting the children at risk. We decided to sneak into her house at night when she would be sleeping. While Labrador distracted her, I found a hidden passage that led straight to her basement. There, I discovered a magical circle that was being used for the transformations. We realized that to stop her spells from working, we needed to destroy the circle and reverse everything.
While Dobie figured out how to destroy the circle, I kept the witch occupied. She didn't immediately realize that we had uncovered her. But as soon as she did, her face turned sinister. The grandmother started transforming. Her body became more twisted, and her eyes filled with bright yellow light. We knew we had to act fast, or she might regain control of the town.
Time was running out. I rushed to the magical circle and, using everything I knew about magic, managed to destroy it. As soon as the circle was destroyed, the witch screamed and tried to break free, but her power was weakened. All the transformed children returned to their normal forms, and she herself turned to ash, disappearing into the air. We were in shock at how close we had come to a disaster.
Once everything was over, we returned the children to their parents, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But we knew that there could be other dark forces lurking under disguises in our town. We decided to stay even more alert and prepared for such events. After all, we must always protect our citizens from such dangers.
This case was a real lesson for us. It reminded us that the world can be full of hidden and dark threats, and we must be ready for any surprises. Labrador and I promised ourselves to always stand guard and protect our town from any evil creatures that may threaten it.
Another mega cool story. It all started when a strange pizzeria appeared on the outskirts of town. At first, it seemed like just another ordinary place. But as soon as Dobie and I started patrolling the area, we immediately felt something was off. People who entered the pizzeria came out with huge smiles on their faces. But what caught our attention was that they were literally swelling up before our eyes, becoming more and more round.
Labrador and I decided to find out what was going on. Soon we discovered that this pizzeria didn't belong to ordinary people, but to cyber robots disguised as grandmothers. These robots were programmed to feed anyone who fell into their trap with a special meal. But the food they served wasn't just delicious. It started filling people's stomachs with air, making them swell up like balloons.
All this time, Dobie and I couldn't understand what kind of technology was behind these strange robots. We started observing them and soon realized that these cyber grandmothers were designed to lure townspeople into a trap. Every time someone ate their pizza, the cyber grandmothers used hidden mechanisms to fill their bellies with air, causing them to expand to enormous sizes. And strangely, no one could stop themselves. Eventually, they would just pop like balloons.
Labrador and I started planning how to stop this horrible machine. We realized that if we didn't intervene right away, the whole town could turn into one giant bubble that couldn't withstand the pressure. To stop it, we needed to break into the pizzeria and destroy the main source of this evil plot. We knew the cyber grandmothers would be guarding the place with incredible strength, but we couldn't let this threat continue.
Once we snuck inside the pizzeria, we saw the main cyber robot, the grandmother, standing at the counter, serving food to the customers. We immediately knew she had to be destroyed to end this. But as soon as we got closer, she started making strange noises, and her metal parts began moving like a real robot. That's when we realized she wasn't just serving food. She was also activating a hidden mechanism that accelerated the inflation process.
It wasn't an easy task. I noticed an old, eerie computer near the pizzeria, which seemed to control all the cyber robots. Labrador and I decided the best way to win was to destroy the system controlling them. I ran over to the computer and, with the help of an old hacker tool, managed to shut off the power. At that moment, all the robots lost control, and they could no longer serve the food that caused people to inflate.
Once we disabled the main power source of these evil robots, the whole pizzeria fell silent, and the townspeople started returning to their normal sizes. Those who were on the verge of bursting began to feel fine, and their former shapes returned. In the end, we were able to restore order to the town. The cyber grandmothers no longer posed a threat to our world. But we knew this story wasn't over, and we had to be ready for new threats that could come from the most unexpected corners.
And that's how this tough battle with the cyber grandmothers came to an end. Labrador and I knew we couldn't stop there. We kept patrolling the streets of the town, because in the world of animals, there's always room for new dangers. But this time, we managed to win. Our town was safe again, and all the residents could breathe easy, knowing we're always on guard.
We managed to get through and escape from that evil grandma. Thanks for watching till the end. But this isn't over yet. There's another mode ahead. Let's go. Guys, save me and Dobie! We climbed up this tall skyscraper and the lava is rising higher and higher. How can we win this?
Why is the lava rising so fast? We needed to climb right to the roof of this skyscraper. Oh well, we'll have to start from the beginning.
After the failure at the skyscraper, we find ourselves on the Grandma's Cottage map. We greet our subscribers and suddenly the lava starts flooding the entire house. We quickly climb to the upper floor and take shelter there. The lava is flooding everything around us, but we're holding on. Our subscribers have chosen a great challenge. It's always nice to feel safe at Grandma's, even if there's hot lava underfoot.
In this situation, the key is not to forget about cleverness. We laugh, remembering Grandma's pies, which could now save us from the lava. The upper floor of the house turns out to be a great shelter, and we continue interacting with our subscribers, sharing our impressions. It's almost like a picnic, but with lava all around.
The next map is simply amazing. It's New Year's, there's a huge Christmas tree, and we need to do parkour to get to the top. Dobie jumps like a real pro, but unfortunately, only I make it to the top. Being alone at the top of the tree is a little sad, but our subscribers support me and that gives me strength.
Labrador is showing excellent skills in parkour, and I continue joking with the subscribers below. The tree is incredibly beautiful, and the New Year's atmosphere adds a festive feeling even in such a tense situation. We laugh, joke about the presents under the tree, and wonder if the lava might also want a present.
Yes, and this is no longer just a game, but a real fight for survival. The lava is literally right on our heels. All you need to do is find a secure spot on the tree. The branches are so fragile, and every wrong step could be your last. But standing on one of its levels, you feel like a true winner. The ability to adapt is the key to survival.
Yes, Labrador, exactly. At first, it seemed like a fun holiday. All those lights and snowflakes. But as soon as we took the first step, I realized this is no laughing matter. The map was one big pyramid with 3 levels, each one a labyrinth with lava that erupts as soon as you step on the wrong tile. But we're sheriffs for a reason. We immediately geared up for serious work.
That's right. The first level seemed easy enough. Dobie and I were jumping from platform to platform, avoiding lava flows and paving our way. But the higher we climbed, the harder it got. Over there on the upper level, we almost didn't notice how the lava started rising right below us. It was a real race against time.
You're right, Labrador. As soon as we reached the very center of the pyramid, we started losing our balance. That moment when you realize every platform is a challenge. The lava was closing in on us, and on the last level, we had to show our maximum agility to avoid its grasp. But we pulled through, as always. In our animal city, no threat can stop us.
Yeah, it was tense, but here we are at the finish line. The pyramid structure surrounded by snow, lights, and a festive atmosphere, it's not only beautiful, but incredibly difficult. The lava definitely couldn't catch us now, and for that, we've truly earned the title of the best sheriffs in Roblox.
Oh, absolutely! This mode was great training for us, and once again, we showed that we can handle any challenge, even when it seems like a children's game at first. No lava flows or dizzying heights will stop us from finishing the mission.
We found ourselves on a colorful tower, and as soon as the game starts, the ground will turn to lava. The task is clear. We need to climb to the top, avoid traps, and not fall. But here's the thing. Even such a simple route turns into a real challenge when there are so many clouds around, which can be both helpers and obstacles.
Yes, Labrador, only we understand that behind this parkour lies real danger. The lava shows no mercy, and if you're not fast and precise, you can lose precious time. Every step on these clouds requires full concentration, especially when you have to jump from one to another, not knowing if the next cloud will hold your foot.
And here it is. This intense scene. Dobie and I are climbing the tower, those clouds ahead of us, and we can already see the lava right beneath our feet. Just a few seconds, and we could be down there. In reality, every choice matters. Even that small pause when deciding where to jump could be the deciding factor. But Dobie and I won't let ourselves relax. We're sheriffs.
Exactly, Labrador. Even when it feels like you're about to fall, you realize every jump is a step closer to victory. On these maps, it's not just agility that matters, but also strategy. We've already been through challenges like this. In Roblox, it's important to know when to take risks and when to slow down to avoid ending up in the lava. Strategy and attention are the key points.
Not long ago, Dobie and I faced a real disaster. A new scientist had arrived in our town, Professor Cvetic. He was known for his unusual inventions, but one of his creations led to a great catastrophe. He had created a device that he thought would make the world brighter and more colorful, but the result was terrible. This device started changing the colors of everything around, and not only the colors, it was distorting reality, turning the world into something completely different. The water turned into lava, and the trees became giant multicolored stones. Dobie and I immediately understood that we needed to take action.
By the time we arrived at the scene, the town was already suffering from the consequences of the professor's invention. The water in the river was boiling like a volcano, and the flowers and plants were changing shape, becoming something unrecognizable. Professor Cvetic was in a panic. He said he hadn't intended for things to turn out this way, but the device had gotten out of control. In his laboratory, we found the device. It was a huge crystal emitting strange light pulses. Each of its movements changed everything around it. We realized that if we didn't stop the device, the consequences would be even worse.
First of all, we turned off the power to try to stabilize the situation. But the device was too powerful, and simply turning it off was impossible. We had to find a way to neutralize it, and to do that, we needed to get to the core of the device. Professor Cvetic told us that there was a special stone inside that was responsible for all the changes. We had to find it and stop it.
Labrador and I struggled to get into the professor's laboratory, where the device was still emitting bright flashes. We found the stone, which was connected to the energy source of the device. It emitted light like a rainbow, and when we touched it, we felt everything around us starting to change. The water began to turn into lava again, and the ground beneath our feet became soft like dough. We knew we had to find a solution quickly, or everything would be lost.
I suggested using an old deactivator model we found in a corner of the laboratory. We connected it to the stone, and with God's help, we were able to stabilize the device. The stone began to dull, and the world around us started returning to normal.
The water became water again, and the trees regained their usual shapes. But the aftermath wasn't as terrifying as we had feared, and the town became safe once more. We explained to the professor that his invention was too dangerous, and he promised never to conduct such experiments again.
Recently, in our animal town, something truly unusual happened. Dobie and I had just finished our regular night patrol when we received an alarming call. Aliens were planning to invade our planet. Yes, you heard it right. The message came through a cosmic signal, intercepted by special services. We learned that alien dogs from the planet Zorks were heading to Earth, and if we didn't stop them, they would take over our world. Faced with this situation, we realized we couldn't just sit idly by. We were about to become the first dogs to travel to space.
When we were told that we were the only ones who could carry out this mission, we didn't waste any time. We were sent to the Space Center, where preparations for the launch were fast and intense. We suited up in special spacesuits and met the team of scientists who would be assisting us. Our mission was simple. We needed to gather information about the aliens' plans and send it back to Earth. We never imagined we would become real space heroes, but that's how the situation turned out.
The launch was truly unexpected. We blasted off into space, and at the moment when Earth was far behind, I felt the full weight of this journey. The cosmos was endless and full of mysteries. We were heading toward the planet Zorks, trying to be cautious and avoid falling into a trap. Our journey aboard the spacecraft wasn't easy, but Dobie and I stuck together and kept our confidence. We knew this might be our chance to save our home planet.
Upon arriving at the planet Zorks, we were greeted by huge aliens. But fortunately, we discovered they weren't as menacing as we had thought. In fact, the aliens just wanted to learn from us how we deal with challenges on Earth. They weren't enemies, they just needed help to develop. Labrador and I shared our values with them: friendship, peace, and cooperation. At some point, we realized that instead of fighting, we needed to make contact and offer help.
The reason for the invasion of our planet was a super delicious ice cream that drove the aliens crazy. We proposed that every week we would send them ice cream, and in return, they would leave our planet in peace.
This experience taught us that in any situation, it's important to act with respect and look for peaceful solutions. Labrador and I will continue to protect our town, but now we know that even in space, we can find allies.
Thank you all for watching. Let us know what you'd like to see next on our channel. See you soon! Hello, friends! Today, Dobie and I decided to test our skills in a new obby parkour in Roblox. This mode was designed especially for us. It looks incredible. All the obstacles are as bright as a rainbow, but it seems we're in for a serious challenge. Guys, give us a like right now if you think we can handle it.
Hi, everyone. Labrador isn't kidding. These rainbow platforms are stunning, but just try to stay on them. I already tripped on the first rainbow path, and it seemed to laugh at me. I hope we can get through all the levels without any losses. Labrador, are you ready?
Of course, I'm ready, Dobie. Although after the first jump, I felt like I was back in puppy school, trying to leap over puddles after the rain. But here, instead of puddles, there are entire oceans of colorful platforms. But honestly, it's so much fun that you forget how difficult it is.
I think I'm starting to understand why they made this mode for us, to test how we handle rainbow jumps. Labrador, did you see that narrow platform? It has already become my personal enemy. And these rainbow paths, they're like a rainbow ribbon, except you have to run on it instead of admiring it.
Yes, Dobie, this parkour isn't for the faint-hearted. It's funny how we, experienced sheriffs, are struggling with these rainbow stripes, but it sure lifts the spirits. Every time I manage not to fall, it feels like a small victory. Look, I finally jumped over that tricky rainbow.
Wow, Labrador, you're a real rainbow master, and I'm here trying not to slide off this spiral staircase. Well, friends, I hope you're enjoying watching us tackle these rainbow challenges. We won't stop until we reach the end.
And here we are again, almost at the end of this rainbow course. Friends, this is a real challenge for both of us, but it's so much more fun to go through all these obstacles together with you. I hope our falls and funny moments bring a smile to your face.
Absolutely! Every fall is an opportunity to start over and, of course, a reason to laugh. I just slid off this slippery rainbow path again, but I feel like I'm starting to become a real parkour master. Rainbow parkour has definitely become our new favorite game. What other Roblox maps would you like to see on our channel? Leave a comment and make sure to hit the like button.
Our Animal City has always been famous for its green parks and cozy streets, but one morning everything changed. I woke up to see that the rain had turned rainbow-colored. Everything around, from trees to cars, was painted in bright, shimmering colors. The water in the river became multicolored, and even the food in the stores took on rainbow hues. Our homes and buildings looked as if they had been painted with a magical brush. It was beautiful, but unnatural. Dobie and I realized that this was not just a natural phenomenon, but something more mysterious and possibly dangerous.
At first, we thought it was the work of some prankster or scientist like Professor Colorful, but it soon became clear that the reason was much more serious. We began our investigation and discovered that this was something new and unknown. We received reports from residents who had seen strange creatures resembling horned horses flying over the city. Then it became clear we were under attack by unicorns. These mythical creatures wanted to take over our city, and their power could change the entire environment.
As it turned out, the unicorns didn't just want to decorate our city. They wanted to transform it completely for their needs. We began looking for a way to communicate with them to understand their intentions and prevent a possible catastrophe. We found their leader, a majestic white unicorn named Astrid. He explained that their world was dying, and they were looking for a new place to live. They chose our city because it seemed perfect to them. But their methods were too aggressive, and this could destroy our way of life.
We realized we needed to find a compromise. We offered to help the unicorns find another place where they could live without destroying our city. Labrador suggested using the city's technology to create a safe and comfortable place for the unicorns. We worked together with city scientists and wizards to create a special sanctuary where the unicorns could live in peace and safety without harming others.
Our efforts were successful. We showed the unicorns the new place, specially created for them, where they could live happily. Astrid was impressed by our kindness and willingness to help. The unicorns agreed to leave our city and move to the new sanctuary. Gradually, the rainbow colors began to fade, and our city returned to its usual appearance. The unicorns, grateful for our understanding and assistance, promised to maintain peace and friendship with us.
So, we managed to prevent the takeover of our city and help creatures in need of a new home. This story taught us that peace and cooperation can solve even the most complex problems. The townspeople were happy to see the familiar colors return, and were proud that we had dealt with such an unusual threat. Our city became calm again, but we will always remember the Rainbow Day when unicorns attacked us.
Recently, a true champion arrived in our city, a leopard named Speed. He was known in the neighboring towns for his outstanding results in races and sprints. His arrival was a real sensation. In honor of this, we decided to hold a city competition to see who the fastest among us really is. Our streets were filled with excitement and anticipation, but the most determined one turned out not to be me, but Dobie. He was set on winning, despite his usually calm nature. Dobie was sure he could beat the leopard.
Of course, I couldn't pass up the chance to show my speed, but I knew that I couldn't just beat a champion like the leopard without something special to give me energy. At the store, I found some energy drinks and started drinking them. At first, it seemed like a simple way to get extra strength, but with each sip, I felt my energy increasing. I was filled with confidence that I could win.
Everything was ready for the start of the competition. We began with a light warm-up, and I noticed that Dobie started to look a little unusual. His eyes were sparkling, and his behavior became much more energetic. He was determined. But when the race started, no one expected him to run so fast. Dobie not only caught up with all the participants, but at one point, he almost matched the leopard's speed. And in the end, he overtook him. Everyone was in shock. Even I, the sheriff, who was always confident in our city, couldn't believe my eyes.
After the win, I felt incredible. My energy was at its peak, and I was so proud of myself. But after a few days, I began to notice that something wasn't right. My energy didn't fade, and I felt really anxious. I couldn't sleep and felt a lot of tension in my body. Then Labrador insisted I visit the doctor. We went to see a rabbit doctor who was an expert in such cases.
The rabbit doctor immediately examined Dobie and ran some tests. It turned out that excessive consumption of energy drinks had caused Dobie's body to stop functioning normally. He was on the verge of exhaustion. The doctor prescribed rest, a balanced diet, and plenty of water to bring him back to normal. Dobie was a bit embarrassed, but understood that it wasn't wise to overdo it with such things. In the end, everything turned out fine, and Dobie became his usual calm and balanced self again. But now he knows that victories aren't just about speed, but also about taking care of your body.
Now I know for sure that health is more important than any victory. I won the competition, but I had to learn from my mistakes. Thanks to Labrador and the rabbit doctor for their help. Next time, I'll train for the competition the right way, without any shortcuts, just using my own strength.
Recently, a strange and terrifying story unfolded in our city. It all began when a new ice cream vendor appeared. He was mysterious and a bit odd. His cart was decorated with bright flags, and he always wore a black suit with dark sunglasses. But something was off. The townspeople started noticing that after children bought ice cream from him, they would disappear. At first, it was just a one-time event, but soon several children went missing, and it became terrifying. Dobie and I immediately started an investigation.
At first, we thought the children might have just run away or gotten into trouble. But the more we kept an eye on the ice cream vendor, the clearer it became that something was wrong with him. We noticed that his van was always parked in the dark corners of the city, and his ice cream had a strange smell. People said it had some unusual flavor, but no one could quite figure out what it was. I decided to take action. Labrador and I went on a night patrol to find out what was really going on.
We tracked him down and found the van on the outskirts of the city. Inside was dark, and the ice cream vendor was standing, laughing, and preparing something behind the counter. As we got closer, we heard strange sounds, like children saying something from inside the van. It was way too suspicious. We decided to act quickly to prevent any more disappearances. Dobie, as always, was determined, and we prepared for a raid.
We brought everything we needed to make sure the ice cream vendor couldn't escape. The van was full of frozen ice creams, but in one corner, we found a large freezer. To our horror, inside we found the missing children. They were in a strange trance, sitting in dark corners as if under hypnosis. It turned out that the ice cream vendor was using a special type of ice cream that made the children succumb to his influence, causing them to disappear and become his hostages. We quickly freed the children and called for help.
And so our adventure comes to an end, friends. Dobie and I managed to do so many exciting things, but now it's time to say goodbye. It's been an awesome time, hasn't it?